This is Dave Meltzer with the Playbook Sports and Entertainment with Blue Wire, and I have an incredible guest, the head coach of the striving and thriving Indiana University football program, Tom Allen. Welcome to the Playbook.
Dave, great to be here with you.
Oh my goodness. Well, I have done my due diligence on this one, and I can tell you that I haven't been this excited to do an interview because you sing my song and you walk the walk and talk the talk about empowering others and elevating others to elevate yourself. And along the way, you just happen to keep winning football games ever since you started coaching in high school, and you just keep winning. How much do you think that your attitude and your mindset have to do with winning on the football field?
Well, I think there's a pattern has been developed, over time, that you're able to see. We've been to 11 different schools over the years, both high school and college, and 8 of those 11 schools had losing seasons the year before we got there. And so not necessarily by design, it's just kind of the way it's worked out, but those opportunities were there. And I just think you go into those places and you be who you are. And I believe in building relationships with people. And I just think it's about people, and it's about them, learning how to believe in themselves and empowering them to do that. Because all those places that I went to that had been struggling, there was a lot of, non-confidence and a lot of just poor, belief in myself and the system or the program or whatever it happens to be, and the way you do things on a daily basis. So there's no question, and there's a lot of energy that I bring. That's just me. And once again, it just goes back to me being me on a consistent basis, and just believing that if we pull together and we do things as a team and we do things for each other, then we can accomplish great things together. And that's kind of been the constant thing, is that we've been fortunate to all those places be able to create change and be able to do some awesome things at those places and win a lot of games along the way. So, but it all starts with relationships and people.
Yeah, and your career has really based itself on striving to be the best that you can be, whether you were a player in Division III, all the way to being a high school coach, Division III coach, all the way through to, one of the top programs and ranked top program now, in all of college football, let alone, in the Big Ten, which is something to be said, because your, original objective was to be a coordinator in the Big Ten, let alone the head coach of the most powerful team in the Big Ten, as they'll probably see this year. But you had a motto that, I was curious about, the Leo motto, and it, is plastered all over here in Indiana. What is the Leo motto, and what is it all about?
Well, just over time, this is actually going to be my 30th season coming up. So
You're aging us. Stop. You're aging us.
I know, it's crazy. I can't even believe it myself. But over that time, I just felt like that I was never part of a team that was special, or that a team that was great, that didn't love each other. And so as I started coaching longer and got into college coaching, I just started really using that phrase. And so I took it from scripture, John 15:12. It says, it commands us to love each other, and the way we were first loved by him. And so I'm always a big guy in trying to create a way to remember something, or, keep in their guys' minds. And so I just made it LEO. And when I first got the job here, I wrote, those are the first letters I wrote on the board in our defensive meeting as the DC in 2016, L period, E period, O period. I said to the team, do you guys know what those 3 letters represent? And they didn't know, and I didn't expect it to. And I said, it stands for love each other. And, there wasn't like some standing ovation. I mean, they were all thinking, what the world has that got to do with football? And I knew it. I said, guys, I know what you're thinking, but I said, you're going to learn that in time, you're going to recognize that this is going to be the difference, because it's about relationships. It's about letting them know that you believe in them and that you want to help them become a special individual. You want them to become the man they were created to be. You want them to become a high character young man that can make great choices in this life to create a future for themselves. And so when they know you care more about them as a person than what they can do for you as a player, I think that's the game changer. And that just doesn't happen by just getting up on the front of a room and writing 3 letters on the board. It happens by building relationships and taking the time to get to know them and help them develop those qualities that they're going to need to be great in this life. So it, to me, is a tremendously valuable tool. That's our culture here. It stands for, it's LEO, it stands for love each other, and we believe in it.
Under the guise of loving each other, one of the things that I found in working with, younger people, college students, for example, is that it's difficult to have them understand that in order to love each other, there's one person that you have to learn. And a lot of, we've dated ourselves with the 30 years of experience that we have. But it's become more difficult to love ourselves.
Right.
There's so many different things out there that are causing, false interpretations and interference and perceptions of, being able to truly feel confident in ourselves and to believe. I know we talked about this previously, believe in ourselves. You can't believe in yourself if you don't love yourself. And it's not arrogance or ego.
No.
It's truly being a good person with character, discipline. For you, how have you been able to communicate that part of loving each other? Is we have to have self-respect and discipline and consistent behavior?
Well, I like to say it like this, before there's a reality, there's a mentality. And if you don't believe in yourself, why should anybody else? And so it starts with an internal belief in who you are and knowing your purpose and knowing who you are and why you're here. And so we talk a lot in our program about your why. We talk about your purpose. What it is the people always ask me about, the energy I coach with. I said, well, you know what? That's an outgrowth of me believing with my whole heart that I was created to be a coach and that I have found my purpose in this life. And because of that, it creates passion and energy within me. And it's no different for these guys. And so I want them to know that their value has nothing to do with the plays that they make. That's their performance has nothing to do with the way I treat them and value them. Well, you know what? I can say that, but I better match it up with my actions. And so I think that's a huge part in them being confident in who they are and believing who they are and loving themselves, because you know what? They're loved unconditionally by somebody else. And so I'm telling you, some guys will sit there and tell me, Coach, I've never been loved unconditionally. They've never felt that love. And that's a sad thing, but it's also a reality of how they've been raised. And so I think that's a critical part of this. And they experience that in this book. Because I'm going to love you regardless of how good a football player you are. Some guys come to college and they exceed their expectations that they're supposed to be as a player. And sometimes they never live up to those. And it crushes some guys because that's their identity. That's the one thing they've been good at their whole lives was the sport. And so we got to try and find out, who am I outside of football? And if I don't know who I am outside of football, man, I'm telling you, you're in for a rough road ahead. And so that's what we dive into.
And, coming into this program, it wasn't the powerhouse that it is today in the Big Ten. And there was lots of different challenges that you faced. But what's the biggest challenge that you have as a coach? Is it with, alumni, schools, administration, bureaucracy, player motivation? What's the biggest challenge that you face? Because you face a lot of challenges to create such a winning program.
Yeah, I think probably the biggest thing that comes to mind is perception. We get judged based on our past. And I think that's part of it. I have on my desk, I have a phrase that says the buck stops here. And so when a young man sits across from me, he sees that phrase. And we talk about, you got to own your past, So I say in this program, when I got here as a DC, I had to own the past. Even though I wasn't here as a coach before 2016, I had to own it. Because when I step in somebody's home and talk about Indiana football, oftentimes they'll kind of, have a perception about Indiana football from what we've done in the past. And so overcoming that, it's actually changing, slowly here. And now we got to the point where some people, that we recruit, they've only seen Indiana. If you focus, if you're a kid that's a sophomore or junior in high school, then these last couple of years, you've seen a different Indiana than maybe you would have seen 5-6 years ago. And so then, but beyond that, in their lifetime, they've not seen Indiana football be at a high level. And so that creates a lot of challenges because people often like, that's the, perception is reality to them, and that they just know, and they think a certain thing. When they think of Indiana, they think about basketball. They don't think about football. And I hear that all the time. And because I always ask kids, hey, what's your perception of Indiana football? And because I want to know kind of what I'm dealing with and where their thought process is. So that's probably a big thing. But I tell you what, our administration is all in. And that's a big reason why I came here. And we're changing things in facilities, and we're changing a lot of things in support for our coaches and in everything that we do here. So that's exciting. And but yeah, we play in the Big Ten East. So that's a challenge. Our schedule, every year it comes out, we got the most, one of the top 10 most difficult schedules in the country every single year. And that's never going to change. And so that's the reality of where we are. And so that's tough. We're playing against a lot of great programs that have won. If you look at the top 10 winningest programs in the history of college football, 3 of them are in the Big Ten East. And so, and we're not one of them. And so to me, that's a challenge that you deal. But you know what? As I always say, hey, when it's 3rd and 7, nobody cares. Nobody cares what your budget is. Nobody cares, what your history was. Nobody cares what you did 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's who's going to step up and make a play today on this team playing for the Indiana Hoosiers. So that's how we approach it.
And I'm going to send you a new sign for your desk. It's going to say the Buckeyes stop here. And that's what Indiana is going to do and change the history today, which is great. Now, one of the other things that's necessary in playing in the East there is that more than ever, consistency is always important. And, the more consistent we are, the greater we'll perform. But when you're facing, the best teams every week, and I'm biased towards the Big Ten. I always say that, if those 3 top teams in the Big Ten would play the schedules of some of the Southern counterparts and who they get, a couple weeks off, make a difference. But what is it like to have to be so consistent and at the top of your game week after week? Because everyone knows, all it takes is one loss to change the history of a season. And when you're playing the best teams every week, and I think even it's easy to get up for the best teams in the Big Ten, but the scary thing is to go against, an Illinois or Northwestern or, whoever it is where you may not think, they're a great team, but, man, the talent at the bottom is better than any other division. I think it makes it even more difficult. How do you get that team up every single week to face the challenges that they have?
Well, I think you have to establish a mindset where we play to a certain standard, and it doesn't matter who we play. And just even coming to Indiana, even though we hadn't had a lot of success in the past, we did have a history of playing up to our rival games, or when we played Ohio State and Michigan, we'd play them tough, at least for a while, and then would play a team that maybe we were either supposed to beat or was more equally balanced with talent-wise, and we would not perform well at all, and we were just flat. I'm like, that can't be that way. So it doesn't matter who you play; there's a standard how you're gonna play, and that to me is the key. And so ever since I've been here, I'm all about consistent performance. I think that's the key to being great in so many areas of our life. And so I talk about embracing the boredom of consistency, and that's a powerful phrase. It's a powerful phrase because most can't do that. They get bored, they get decisions, they get discouraged, they get whatever as time elapses, and they fall off. And so if you want to be great and you want to be able to play this kind of schedule, and so I love having this kind of schedule because you know what? The schedule pulls it out of us. We got no choice because like you said, I don't care who they are in the Big Ten, they're all good enough to beat you. And we don't have the luxury of letting up. And so those regular season, those 12 games of regular season, we got 12 Saturdays, and we got to be at our best every single Saturday. And you may not be on an emotional high every single week because you only have so many emotional responses, I think, in your body, but you have to be consistently playing at that level of how you focus and how you perform. And so once again, it's more about the standard that we set and playing to that standard and not letting the opponent dictate how well we play or how focused we are as a team.
And, you and I belong to a club. There's optimists out there, but, after getting to know you, you're a toptimist. You're the top of the optimists, and being able to share that optimism obviously helps to facilitate, people to pursue their potential, but it also can be a detriment. I know personally in business, because people are human and people have down days. And there's a few people that aren't born with the happy gene, the optimistic gene that we're born with. And I'd love to know just personally in managing businesses, how do you elevate somebody that may have a more negative perspective or doesn't necessarily carry the optimist attitude? Because you're bound to get a few players in your program or coaches or someone that may not always be the optimist that you are. Mm-hmm. How do you deal with the negative energy or a negative perspective as the head coach?
Well, I think first of all, you want to attract both coaches and players that fit with you. And that doesn't mean that they're all like you, but it means that they all believe in the things that you believe in. And what's important to them is important to you. Because if that's not aligned in place, then you're in trouble. And so then you're pulling guys. And I always say this, I will motivate you, I will challenge you, I will lead you, but I can't pull you. Because if I have to pull you, that means you want to go that way, and I want you to go this way. And so it's about getting the right people, I think, number one. But then, like I said, there's going to be some personalities that are different, both coaches and players on our team. And I think the thing for me is it's still relationship driven. And it's me challenging them because I believe so strongly that it's our mindset. It's how we think every day. It's not how you're feeling, it's how you're thinking every single day. So I don't ask our team, how you feeling today, guys? No, I ask them, how you thinking today? Because who controls those thoughts? I do, and you do. And since I can control them, then I can choose to have a positive attitude. I can choose to bring energy today. I can choose to be focused. None of those things take any talent whatsoever. And we focus on those things. And since it's a choice, I'm going to confront you. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to encourage you. Okay. But I'm going to tell you the truth. When you got a certain look on your face, I'm going to pull you aside and talk to you about it. Okay. I'm not going to let it just slip. Okay. I'm going to tell them because my, demeanor and my mindset and my energy, that affects the whole group, just like it does on our football team. And so we got to have leaders that understand that. And so to me, it's about one-on-one time. And I spend a lot of one-on-one time with our players because I want them to know that I care about them. I can't just do that if I don't know them and I don't know what their personalities are and what makes them tick or what they value or don't value. So to me, I think it's relationships. I think it's confronting guys, but it's a choice, and you choose to have a certain attitude and mindset every single day.
One of the things is recruiting talent, not just in the sports realm, but especially now in the business world because of the shortage there is of talent, especially through the pandemic. And I'm always looking for what I call the perfect blend of that mindset with desire and with talent, like skill.
Right.
Where's your perfect blend? If you're looking at a player, what blend percentage-wise would you like to see? I'd like to see, the top 30% in mind, this amount in, where's that blend for you of importance? But, I know you need all three, but what do you look at?
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever thought of it percentage-wise, but I will say this, that I'm going to err on the side of the mindset and the character above the talent, because I think that, and I call that fit. It's guys that fit with us, and I will take the fit over a talented guy that has all this talent, doesn't fit with us, or all this talent and doesn't have good character. And it doesn't mean he's a bad person. It just means that he will not respond to what I will motivate him with. And if you're not aligned with us, you won't, because the things that I value and I spend over half the time talking about as a coach, if that's not important to you, you won't be listening. So I won't be able to pull, and motivate and really just help you become at a higher level. So I just would stand out, but don't get me wrong. I mean, we got to have players that have talent. I get that, and so we try to focus on the things and recruit the things that we can't change. If you want a certain position to have longer guys there or taller guys, then recruit guys there that have good length and fit with you. You need a certain speed at certain positions, then find the guys that have that kind of speed at that position that fit with you. And we got a whole country full of guys that we're going out to look for. And we got I believe, a university that has a national brand and allows us to do it. That's one reason why when I came to Indiana, I felt like we had a chance to be able to create. Even though maybe that brand was associated with basketball more than it was football, it was still a brand that, hey, they're in the Big Ten. And they got an opportunity to go get a world-class education in a place that's going to play on TV every single Saturday, And so, but to me, I just still feel like there's certain things we're looking for. But if the talent supersedes the fit and the character, I think you're going to get in trouble.
I will tell you, I don't think anyone has a stronger mindset or heart set than I have. But, good thing for Indiana, nobody looks like me on your team. And I mean that as a big compliment. Now, coming into this big season, ranked, as a huge supporter of the program myself, what would be the one word that you think would represent the 2021 season? Is there a word that you can come up?
Well, I'm a one-word guy, and I, studied John Gordon's one-word book, and our one word for 2021 is chase, and that word was picked for a reason. And to me, it's an earnest or frenzied seeking after something desired. That's the definition for the word chase. And so every year I come up with the one word that I feel that team needs for that upcoming season. And I pick it after we get done with the bowl game and everything is transitioning before the players come back for January session and ready to be back in the weight room. And so, but that whole earnest or frenzied seeking after something desired is a powerful thing. So our very first meeting, I put that definition on the overhead, in the PowerPoint. And so that word earnest is just a intense conviction. And then frenzied is a fiery passion. So we're talking about a whole nother mental when you think of that word chase, I'm not talking about playing, chase in the backyard when you're a kid. I'm talking about a starving lion chasing after its prey. That's what I want our guys. And I told them that. That's what I envision. That's how you have to chase after greatness every single day. So here's what I did. Met with our guys and I said, okay, I want you to have in 3 areas, personally, academically, and physically, which is the football piece. I want you to give me 3 things. So that's 9 total things that you're going to chase greatness with in your life. Met with them individually, one-on-one. Their position coaches knew what those were. And now we hold them accountable for those 9 things all spring and all summer long. And so to me, that's how we were going to take this program from having a really good season in 2020 to try to continue to build this program. Hey, it's going to be hard. We're not just going to be better in 2021 just because we had a good season in 2020, got a lot of guys back, got a lot of energy, got a lot of excitement for the program. That's wonderful. That doesn't win us any games in 2021. Nothing. Okay. And we got a brutal schedule we got to play. But you know what? We got to play one at a time. So that's all we focus on. And focus on the things you can control. But we're chasing after greatness every single day here at Indiana in 2021.
And I love it. And I am chasing my friend John Gordon all over the college programs because he has impacted so many different coaches and players through his years. Just an extraordinary leader and an inspiration to me, a big friend in a men's group with him. But I will give you my definition of that word. Hopefully it's applicable, but I believe a chase is to be able to enjoy the consistent everyday, persistent without quit pursuit of your potential. And if you can collectively as a consciousness create a team full of people enjoying the consistent, persistent pursuit of their potential, it's going to be a hell of a season for Indiana, which I'm sure it will be. I even got my right-hand man who went to Michigan saying, I hope you beat us. So you must have some sort of magic spell. And let's keep the magic going. Tom Allen, head coach at Indiana University, and an incredible human being. Thank you so much.